Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binkabi and this will be a sealed pool attempt. Let's just see how it goes, shall we? So, since my recording equipment isn't like super awesome, we will have to do it like this. I will man the camera for now, and then when it's time to go down in depth, I will try to fix that with as little interruption as possible. So this is usually how I tend to do. I hope you can see it here. I tend to sort my deck by colors first. That's how I usually go about things. First of all, it gives me a pretty good sense about how deep my colors are. As you can see here, for example, white seems to be pretty short compared to the other ones. But there is another thing that you have to do when sorting them out like this, and that is check how many actual good cards you have. Let's say my green pile. Let's say it would contain, let's say, 5 naturalize or whatever. Then it's not especially deep anymore. So that's something you absolutely have to consider when building a sealed deck. When I put it out like this, I usually check how many rares do I have in the specific colors. Do the rares actually determine where you go? No, they do not. Especially not in a powerful format like Modern Masters, where the commons and uncommons are so strong that the rares lose some of their potential splash value or what have you. But of course you want to play rares if you can and if they're good. We have one rare in the no colored section, the colorless section. We have an all is dust. We have 0 white rares. We have 0 blue rares. We also have 0 black rares. And would you know, we actually have 0 red rares as well. What we do have, however, is 2 green rares, 2 noble hierarchs actually. We have a green red rare in Apocalypse Hydra, and then we got the last 2 in Lodestone Mirror. It's an artifact, and where are you? The Shimmering Mass, Chimeric Mass even. So the rares, if we should follow them blindly, would tell us to go heavy green, at least splash red, and artifacts. Okay, that's good to know, and something I will certainly keep in mind. Before I go to check out the colors, I also look at what mana fixing do we have. First of all, I look at the lands, and as you can see way over to the right, we actually don't have that much. We have 1 Rakdos Carnarium, which is not horrible. Means we could go base green and then splash red or black or something like that. In the colorless section we have, where are you? A Sphere of the Suns and an Alloy Mirror. So not much to go on there. And then of course you should check red and green in this format. Red could have Fiery Fall, which it does. We have at least 1. We have actually 2. And that's the basic line cycler, of course. And in green we can also have Rampant Growths and stuff. And we have the Noble Hierarchs, should not be forgotten. And we do have a Rampant Growth. So we have some splash potential for sure. Very good to know. Now it's time to try to narrow this down. Try to sort out the good cards and see if we can build something. And the easiest way to do that is to eliminate colors and locate splash cards. So if we start out with the white, that should be the easiest. Let's just see how many good cards it contains. The Phalanx is pretty bad. I'm gonna do this pretty rapidly because we only have 30 minutes after all. Spectral Procession, obviously fantastic. Otherworldly Journey is okay. I'm not sorting fillers here. 2 spectral processions, an Apocalypse Blessing, Apostle's Blessing, good to note. Yeah, so white contained exactly 2 cards that I would be really happy to play, and Spectral Procession is not splashable whatsoever, so white can be eliminated immediately. It's not good enough. It's not deep, and it's not good enough. We will continue with blue. And what I also tend to do is start with the colors that I think could be eliminated first. So let's say wings, not good. Repeal, not fantastic. Squirrel, not fantastic. We have a Muldrifter. We have a Narcolepsy, alright. Stoic Rebuttals, another Repeal, another Stoic Rebuttal, and a Cloud Elemental. So here we have 2 blue cards that are really good, and that are highly splashable as well. So those 2 will stay in the potentials. The rest of the blue will be gone. And we have no mana fixing for it naturally in the lands, and we have no reason whatsoever to be blue. Besides those 2 cards here, which can be splashed. We will continue with black, because that's the sort of color we could potentially think to be in. Deathmark good, I would not main deck if I don't have to. Sign of Blood is good. Ghostly Changeling is fine. Nameless Inversion is good. Dread Run will also go into the good pile. Another Sign of Blood. Another Nameless Inversion. Okay, so the black gives us 2 good early removals with a lot of synergy with black, but we have none of the synergy cards. 2 card draw spells and a Dread Drone. The bad thing here is all of those cards wants us to be heavy black, base black, and the pool doesn't really support that. We have few cards, few creatures, nothing really to work with. And the really bad part is that Nameless Inversion is not really something you would like to splash, because they're at their best on turn 2, 3, 4, 5. If you can get it online that fast, great, but I don't think we can. Same goes for Sign of Blood. If you really need a card draw, you could double splash it. With this pool it might be possible, and Dread Run is not something I would like to splash either. So unfortunately, despite us having a bounce land, I don't think black will make the cut. If we had like a Spreader Sickness, that would be something, but double blacks and cards that are good early is not something you would like to splash. One of the best examples of this is from Return to Ravnica, the Abrupt Decay splash. I'm not certain why you would do that. A removal that is actually only good on turn 2, 3, maybe 4. And you're like, yes, I unlocked my Abrupt Decay on turn 8. Good for you. So what do we have here? Gutshot does not count as a good card. It's a very narrow card. Stormblood Berserker is good though. Fiery Falls is also good. Burst Lightning is certainly good. Trainee could be good. He will stay in. Slaughtermaster, the Phoenix. Probably not. Smash. Gorehorn Minotaurs is good. Firefall, another Burst Lightning. So our good cards here is a bunch of burn-based removal spells and 2 decent creatures. So the problem, of course, being that if green can't support a pretty aggressive deck, this is not good. If it doesn't have any pump spells, the Trainee is not good either. Excuse me. What it does have though is Burst Lightnings and Fiery Falls, which is okay on the splash, especially the Burst Lightnings. So the Burst Lightnings will stay in for now, and the rest will go away. Now we're running thin on cards, so we're definitely gonna have to go back and revisit those piles, but we have time. It's okay. Green, Commune with Nature. No. Vines is certainly playable. The Graft, I think you play him always. I mean, it's a 4/4/4/4. Nest Invaders is good. Mutinic Growth is playable. Plummet is somewhat playable in Seal. Scary City is okay. Hierarchs are good. Primarchs, rampant growth. What do you do? No, I would not say it's good. So green has basically no unplayable cards. I would like to cut basically those four: the Communes, the Plummet, and the Sundering Vitae. The rest is playable, but it's not something that makes me jump around in happiness, which is disappointing because we're getting to the end of the piles here. Let's take a look at our multicolored cards. We got a Savage-born Hydra. No, Apocalypse Hydra, excuse me. I mean, you can't be sad about this. It's so freaking good. It will be played. Ashen Morgorger is not very good, so no. Drooling Grodion is fine. I'd say he's actually pretty good. And as it looks right now, we could actually be thinking about being green-black and actually play all those Signing Bloods and stuff. Because it seems like we will be 50% green and 50% another color. And maybe splash both the Burst Lightnings and the blue cards. We don't know yet, so we will see. Sigil Splitting not good, because we have another one. We also have a Pillory, and depending on where we go, that might be a card as well. So it will stay in for now. I'm trying to do this as fast as I can, but it's hard to explain at the same time as you're talking. We will see about the artifacts. All seal pools will have a pretty large number of artifacts, because that's how the set is designed. Soul Eater is not qualified without white mana. Taking 2 to prevent like 3 is not really what you want to be doing. Kite Sail is actually an equipment I like a lot, because it's cheap and it gives flying. So I'll count that in. I don't think we'll have enough artifacts for Lodestone Mirror. We don't have anything in blue or white that supports that. Darksteel Axe is usually a trap. I will keep it in, and we will see. Forcers, same thing. Chimeric Mass will... I'm pretty certain I will always play that. So it's in. Cathodian, solid guy in. Glinthawk Idol, not in. Cathodian in. Chalice could be in. Sphere I hope not to play. Mortarpod is in. Alloy Mirror is a lot worse than you think it is. Rusted Relic is out, and the Carapace is out. So a pretty thin line here. Since it doesn't look like we will be that aggressive, I'll cut the axe. I'd much rather draw a random creature that can bash than an equipment. So some backup from the artifacts. Now that we have lined up all this, I guess we should actually also go over the colorless cards over here. It's an Olomog's Crusher and an All Is Dust. I'd probably play both. Not in every deck, but in a lot of decks. So this is what we have narrowed it down to. We're gonna play green, probably. And green has a few good cards in the Noble Hierarchs, mostly. And also in the Nest Invader and Vines and stuff we can protect, like the Apocalypse Hydra, for example. But we need some beef. We need something to make it tick, and there is where black is making its grand return. It also fits pretty well because we have the Carnarium to splash the Burst Lightnings and the Apocalypse Hydra. So we will revisit black and try to pick out the playable card, the good cards, and the filler cards. So the Inversions and Signing Bloods are still in. Dreadon is still in. Nightmare, probably not making it. Ghost of Changeling are in. Grim Affliction could be in, we will see. Shrivel is not main deckable. Another Changeling. Assembling Skeleton is pretty cool, and it's an engine card, so be in. Sickle Ripper is pretty good. So there we have the black ones. Now we have a few minutes left here, and we're actually getting close to how we want the deck to be. For now I will remove the blue cards, but I will keep them in mind. Maybe we will splash that as well. I will also remove the white card for now. Maybe we'll splash that as well or instead. That depends on how the deck is looking. So hopefully this will be somewhat visible here. When I have decided on the colors I think I will be in, I tend to lay out the deck with creatures and spells separated and according to mana cost. I also tend to do this when I place a spell that gives creatures. It's usually going into the creature pile. Then in some cases they count towards something like a Kiln Fiend, and then I have to adjust accordingly. The giants will be in. Drooling Grudian, Inversions, Signing Bloods. We have a lot of spells down here, which is not horrible, but something you should keep in mind. Apocalypse Hydra, since it's an X spell I usually put it way up. Burst Lightnings, and you can be there as well, and All is Dust. Then we have a Mortarpod, Everflowing Chalice. I would say I would never cast it for less than 2, so I would place it at 4. That's probably where I want to cast it. Cathodians, the Kite Sail, and the Chimeric Mass. Okay, hopefully this is somewhat visible now. I will adjust. The light is a bit off. I'll see if I can fix that. Okay, so now we got the piles. We got something that could resemble a deck. What I tend to do, now we only have basically one possibility here. We're not going to build another color deck. If I was thinking that maybe we would like to go blue-white artifacts or whatever, I would rapidly lay this one out, see how it turns out, and then do the same with the other deck. But now we only have one. So first of all, how many creatures do we have? I tend to like the 15 creature rule for the most part. Right now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 creatures. So I would start off by cutting creatures. The worst one is certainly Rootkin Alley. It doesn't do that much. It's not bad, but it's not fantastic. So be gone with that. Do we have any synergies? We have Sacrifice Creatures, so Dreadrone is certainly staying, so we Scatter the Seeds. The Rootkin is probably in there too. We could cut a Changeling. Yeah, that's probably it. It's not very good, and I'm not sure. The Changeling part is not something we are interested in. Let's see, 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17. Still 2 more creatures. I'd probably cut. It's a bit awkward because we could cut the expensive stuff and the mana ramp, and I think that's a good way to go. I think that Ulamog's Crusher could probably go because it's too expensive. The other ones are fine, but you don't want to end up with too many expensive things. However, I think you will have time to cast it, but we have to cut something here. The last card to be cut could be a creature we will see. Now I will go over to the spells. All is Dust will be played. It's not fantastic in this deck, but since you're the one that has it, you can pretty much control where it goes. Everflow Chalice can probably go. It's decent, but I don't think we need it. The same goes for Grim Affliction. The Proliferate without Everflowing Chalice, I don't think we have that much. We have a Wither, we have 1 Graft creature, we have the Chimeric Mass, but I still don't think that's enough. So let's see, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The mutagenic growth and 1 vines of the vastwood can go. It's too much redundancy. You want to have a pretty good diversity amongst your cards. Let's see, the 2-drops. What I usually do when I don't have a clear option or opinion on what to cut, I usually do like this. Which one of the cards would I have to play if I could only choose one? That would be a nameless inversion. Whoops. And then I would keep doing that process until I have all the spells I want. So let's see. We have 4 spells laid out here. 5, 6, 7, and 8. That means we're cutting Rampant Growth, Mortar Pod, and Kite Sail. Now we have to adjust. We are splashing red, so we do need the Rampant Growth. We have the Carnarium as well, and that gives us probably 3 sources for 3 spells. Not the best, but it's okay. We could also be looking at cutting the red and adding blue instead, because we have Noble Hierarchs as well. But I think Rampant Growth has to stay. And then we have to cut something else, and that would be a Vines of the Vastwood. Good card, not for this deck. Mortar Pod is also pretty good for this deck, but as I said, you can't play it all. You won't have a problem with too few good cards. Now we have to revisit the blue as well. Narcolepsy and Muldrifter. So the curve is not looking fantastic, but it's less important in sealed than it is in draft, so it's not a huge issue. The reason I want to at least try to get the blue in is because we already have 2 blue sources. Oops. There we go. We already have 2 blue sources in the Noble Hierarchs, and we should use that. So I think it's perfectly reasonable to splash both the red and blue here. Keep in mind that the Rampant Growth still counts towards both blue and red if you have 1 basic of each, but as soon as you've used this, you're actually using a source for the other color as well, so you should keep that in mind. So let's say here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. I think this deck should be 23 or maybe 24 spells with 2 Signing Bloods, Rampant Growth, Carnarium. Maybe we could get away with 16 lands. What is the first card to cut? It's actually very tough. I think All Is Dust could be the one. Maybe that's horrible. Yeah, that's probably horrible. I'll retrace that. But we have to cut cards, and this is actually the hardest part. I think Scatter the Seeds could go. It has a fantastic synergy with our beast here, but we already have a lot of that effect. We have Burst Lightnings, Nameless Inversions, so it's not crucial for us, and Scatter the Seeds is not something that will be super powerful in this deck unless we get the broken start. But we don't have anything to go with it anyway. Dreadrune is still good though. Then I think the second Changeling could probably go. We don't really need it. We're trying to skip mana costs here, so yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe this could be it. Let's see if we can get a better view. There we go. Where are we now? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This could be our deck. Now the question is, do we cut 1 card for another land? How dependent are we on lands? We have a bounce land that counts as 1 1/4 of a land, somewhere around that. And we have 2 Noble Hierarchs and a Rampant Growth. I think we can get away with 16 lands. It's a bit greedy. We do have some more expensive stuff, but we have mana ramp and card draw to potentially get us out of there. So when I think I'm done with the deck, I usually do a quick review. What is the deck trying to do? Now we don't have that much time left, but if we had more time I would do that more in depth. But this deck wants to survive the early game with removal and decent blockers, and then it wants to take over the game with one of the larger guys over here, the flyer, or just survive and then sweep with all his dust. Then we can grind them down with the sacrifice ability of this guy and just punch them to death. Chimeric Mass and Apocalypse Hydra provides good finishers. Overall, I think the deck ended up a bit thin. It doesn't have a clear plan on where to go. If we have time, we can revisit and try to find a better solution. I don't think there is, actually. I think we have narrowed it down to the best possible cards here, and I think it has a good shot at winning a lot of games. What it does lack is the synergy, and that's always unfortunate, but not always something you can do anything about. Overall, I think it was a pretty weak pool and a hard pool to build, and that's why I chose it as the first one. So this is probably where I would like to go. We have 3 minutes left on the clock, and the last part is obviously the mana base. And what I usually do is that I just scoop everything up with a mental picture of the colors down here, and it seems like we have a lot of both. But we probably need more green than black sources. Then I sort them out. Green cards in one pile, black cards in one pile, colorless cards in a pile of its own. Now we have more colors, so I would sort them like this, just to get a picture of what we're working with. Since I know what we have, I'd probably stick with one island for sure, and probably only one mountain as well. That's a bit greedy, but I think it's worth it anyway, since we do have the Carnarium and the Rampant Growth. So that's 2 lands. Let's see if I can fetch up my basic land box. Should have done this before, obviously. Where are we here? 1 island and 1 mountain. So that's the splash lands. 3 red sources and Rampant Growth Island and 2 Noble Hires. 4 blue sources is certainly enough. Then I usually remove the cards, so I don't count them again. 1 green is something we should keep in mind. Green sources, time to count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, not that many. 8, 9, 10. Black sources, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12, 13. So it should probably be more swamps than forest, but since we have a Carnarium and the green works as mana fixing, I will go towards more forests. And we said 16 lands, so that means 13 more lands. 7 forests and 6 swamps will be the pick for me. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forests. And where is the swamps? There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're just in time to finish up the deck. Of course, you should write this down at the GP as well, so we're actually overtimed. But that's okay this time. So that would be the mana base, and hopefully it will work out. We actually have more black sources, obviously, and so forth. So a green, black, splash red and blue deck will be the powerful deck that we chose to battle this sealed competition. Don't be afraid to splash, you have great tools for that. Do you think I should have built it anyway differently? Is there something I've completely ignored, something I forgot to tell you? Please leave a comment, and we will discuss that further on in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and And there the time is out. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you shortly for the next one.